going after these funds. At the state level, a number of things happening there. The applied baccalaureate degree is still alive and well. We've got a number of people willing to carry their water there. We're not looking at being universities per se and offering the full bevy of courses, particularly in the liberal arts. What we are focused on doing is offering baccalaureate degrees in applied areas. For Jackson Community College, I've asked for initial authority for nursing, so we would hope to be able to offer the BSN here at JCC. We've got, in my view, even though all 28 community colleges have a nursing program, in my view, the data support this, we've got the best nursing program in the state, bar none. I think it's an opportunity for us to continue to distinguish ourselves and provide service that is expressed in need by area hospitals and medical care facilities. So we are pursuing that, and we believe that the hearings will take place this fall. Also, a bill that I'm tracking, there's a whole bunch of them, I'm just highlighting a few here, is 747. This particular bill is a little bit interesting. It's concerning to me. It's actually supported by Senator Randy Richardville, who covers our area in Monroe County as well. He's wanting to remove the exemptions that preclude individuals from carrying concealed weapons on campus. So if you have your concealed weapons permit under his legislation, be able to do that. His thinking being that if more people are out here carrying weapons than if an active shooter is on campus, we've got more people there to take them out. Well, that starts to sound like the Wild West to me. You know, I have pictures of Matt Dillon and Festus and a whole bunch of people walking around. And of course, we have a chief of police on our board who's asked the question, when the police officer shows up on campus or the sheriff's deputy shows up on campus, how does he or she know who's the active shooter and who's the good student trying to be the good Samaritan and take out the shooter? This is problematic. We don't need JCC turning into the Wild West, so I'm concerned about this one. State budget status. Holy cow. I've been on the phone most of the day today dealing with this particular budget issue. There were some misfires with regard to Andy Dillon and coming out a little bit earlier, getting ahead of Bishop and the governor and some other things about saying they had a budget deal. That they're trying to knock that out right now. A Senate bill has been introduced that asks for a continuation budget from October 1st through the end of October. Should the deals not be there in place, there are hearings taking place right now. Also, they'll start in earnest next week. In fact, on Monday next week, I'll be running up to Lansing for a committee meeting on community college appropriations. It's getting wild and woolly out there. The best intel that I have right now, which I've shared with Dean Finnegan, is that promised scholarships will not be available. That's a big number for us. That is a big number for us. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm concerned about that. That is an academic-based. It is not need-based. But I am concerned about what it means for our students. We made the decision, I believe it's, now I feel, I feel better about the fact that we made the decision not to include the Hope for Promise scholarships in our awarding this year. It was the right thing to do. It was difficult for students to hear, but now it has proven to be the right thing to do. Where are we going to be with cuts? Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I will tell you what I know at any given moment. One thing that you need to understand is that this is a very fluid environment. So what you hear today, in about 10 seconds, it could be different. All right? I'm not waffling. I'm not changing my mind. It's dealing with the dynamic of and the realities that we deal with in government. Where we stand right now is that the fact that I don't believe promise is going to happen at all. I do believe at this moment, right now, that community colleges will not be cut. I do not think that we will see a cut. Now, you're going to say, for those of you who are paying attention, you're going to say, well, I just saw in the earlier pages that you put the budget book together thinking you're going to have about a 10% cut. For us, it's about $1 million and some change. You would be right. We did reduce our budget, basically holding flat, but even though we had expenses saying we need to go up, we held ourselves essentially flat over the preceding year. If we are not cut in the budget this year, my intention is just to park that and set it aside. We're not going to touch it. Because the big gorilla comes in 2011. Now, how do I know that? Well, we have huge cuts, $1.2 billion for this year. The way that the state is choosing to solve it, and I think the majority party is probably going to win out on this, is to say, let's take this stimulus money and let's solve all of our problems. Now, depending upon which party you're interested in, I'm not interested in really knowing, but there's that dynamic of Republican, Democrat, and leadership in House and Senate. You've got that morass of issues going on up there. Who's wanting credit? When is elections coming up? What seats need to be filled? What seats can be taken over by an R or a D, whatever the case might be. You've got all that mess going on all the time. It's hard to sort out. But the leading party, I think, that will be successful will say, let's take all of the stimulus money and throw it over here. we'll worry about next year. I don't have the luxury of not thinking about next year. I don't have the luxury of thinking about this college budget, nor does Tom or our board. Do we have the luxury of thinking about tomorrow or 1 year? Folks, I'm always thinking 5 years out where we're going to be with instructional programs, where we're going to be in terms of staffing, where we're going to be in terms of budget, tuition. That's how far I'm thinking out. I don't have the luxury of putting my head in the sand or just looking to 1 year. I don't have that luxury. And so my intention is, if that is the prevailing solution to our budget dilemma this year, we're going to park it. Because next year, there is no stimulus money short of about 10% of what the original fund was, and that's earmarked to go into K through 12. So what does that mean? Oh, about $2.5 billion is going to hit the skids. We're already running thin the way it is. We have furlough days in the state. We've laid off people at the state level, all kinds of issues. My first intention is all of you sitting here within the earshot of my voice, and those who aren't here, is if you're employed by JCC, I'm going to keep you employed because we've got big numbers here. I don't want to bring you in and have suddenly cuts and then we're laying you off. Some of you moved here. You brought your families here. My commitment is to you and make sure that we have the people that we need to survive the instability of economic conditions. That's my job. That's my responsibility. You may disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't have the luxury of thinking about, let's hire all the people we can hire right now and we'll worry about tomorrow. I can't do that. I can't. And so in looking at about $2.5 billion worth of cuts, there is no way, there's nobody in God's green earth who is saying that we're going to avoid a cut in 2011. So I'm going to park the money this year. If this is the prevailing solution, we'll apply that to next year. Because I'm thinking next year we'll be having to do the same thing. Probably have to take another $1 million out of our budget, and we'll have the capacity to be able to do that. The econometric conditions right now are traumatizing at best. Even now, we're just beginning to see a hint of a little bit of change in portfolios and unemployment. It was interesting to me to notice how quickly people rushed to say how great things are and the world's coming back, the economy's coming back, when we had 0.1% of an unemployment reduction. That was bothersome to me. A lot of this is about politics and getting credit. My responsibility is about running this institution and surviving a lot of this stuff. So that's what's happening with the state budget status. It is equally possible, though, that I'm wrong, that I've read the tea leaves wrong, or in 10 minutes later it's going to be wrong. And I'll let you know when I know that. We have to know something by the end of this month, or we'll have a continuation budget, and I'll let you know when I know. It's equally possible that we'll get a cut. We could get a cut for $1 million, $1.2 million, and we're okay because we planned for that. We've not planned for more than that. That would be problematic for us. So that's the reality of where our budget is. I will let you know when I know it. I'll be communicating that to you, but know that a lot of good folks have advised me. We spent a lot of time thinking about it. Our Board of Trustees is very thoughtful about having a future that is planned and thoughtful and sustainable, and that's where we're at. With regard to 2010, as I mentioned, promises out the door, and the stimulus money will likely be consumed in that year. In 2011, as I've mentioned here, that's where the big reductions. That's today's message. So, next slide. The elephant in the room. There's one here. I don't know if you see him or not, but he's here. We are the birthplace of the Republican Party, so maybe it makes sense that we talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that we do not have a faculty contract, and that's concerning to all of us. I think all of us would agree that that is distracting, and it's concerning to all of us, and concerning to all of our colleagues as well. You know that we have been working on this for a long time. We've actually started this process and begun those conversations early on, and I assure you that I continue to work on this effort. This is an issue between our Board of Trustees and our faculty association. This is not about me, about the administration. This is a relationship and a contractual issue between the Board of Trustees and our faculty union. I have prepared a couple of slides here with just some facts. I'm not going to comment on it, but I'll let you see them, and I'll be right back up in a second. Amanda, please.